Part 21. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 233. Looking at this scene, countless spectators from all over the world couldn't help but feel their hearts sink, and their eyes were full of worry. Could it be that, even if Kakarot is at his peak, can he not defeat Jiren? If this is really the case, then this Jiren would be too scary. In the picture, as a strong wave came out, Wukong's body suddenly burst out of the thick black mist and rushed towards Jiren's direction. He still retains such a powerful power, a guy who can't be killed. Wrestling with Wukong who rushed over, Jiren's face was full of anger. The two people's unparalleled strength and majestic breaths continued to collide. Countless gravels continued to rise. One red and one blue light. The two of them were wrapped in it. Bang 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 bang. After a fierce collision, Jiren used a protective shield to block Wukong's energy bombs, and then released a dazzling energy bomb to blast Wukong again. Flying out, his body followed closely behind, and a sudden punch landed on Wukong's abdomen, and orange shockwaves kept sending Wukong flying away. Great, the winner is decided. In the audience, the god of destruction from Universe 11 couldn't help but stood up excitedly, with extremely excited expressions on his face. On the other side, Virus and others' faces were a little nervous, and they were sweating drop by drop. 58. 0 slipped from their cheeks. Wukong, this guy, isn't really going to lose, is he? On the battlefield, as the smoke slowly dissipated, the silver-haired Wukong was lying on the ground at the moment. The blue light around him had completely receded, and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably. Wukong, it's not over yet. No matter when, no matter what the desperate situation, can't you always fight back? You can definitely defeat Jiren, I believe in you. So please stand up, Wukong. As Klin's exciting speaker fell, Wukong, who was lying on the ground, felt an inexplicable force emerge from his body, supporting his body, and slowly stood up. His eyes widened. Jiren was in disbelief. Looking at the scene in front of him, his whole body was trembling, and he felt extremely shocked in his heart. How is this possible? He probably doesn't have much energy left. Obviously, he should obviously fall down at this moment. This is the power of trust. It is precisely because of the existence of partners that Kakarot can stand up. At this moment, countless hot-blooded male protagonists in all the worlds couldn't help but shout out one after another. They felt extremely shocked in their hearts. Their whole bodies only felt hot and full of power. In the past, they had also been partners time and time again. Stand up again and again in the trust of others, not to fight for yourself, but for your companions, for a better tomorrow and the future. Jiren, it's not over yet. How is it possible? Why can you still stand up after being severely injured, son Wukong? 17. Vegeta, and many others have entrusted their trust to me, and in order to repay their kindness, I cannot take a step back. Boom. As the conversation between the two ended, Wukong's whole body burst into blue light again, and the powerful aura suddenly surged again. Shut up, you are meaningless in front of my power. As Jiren's voice fell, the two of them stepped forward at the same time and collided suddenly again, and Wukong's speed suddenly increased a lot compared to before. Bang 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 bang. One red figure and one blue figure continued to collide fiercely. In the crazy fight between the two, violent thunder and lightning continued to erupt from the center of their collision. Looking at the entire universe, most of the world's existence, can you understand the battle in front of you? Their breadth, speed, power, it has already surpassed their cognition. It has surpassed the human eye by hundreds of millions of times. The fist that exceeds the speed of light blasts hundreds of millions of fists every second. The terrifying combat power that is enough to destroy galaxies, and even the universe in an instant is presented before the eyes of all viewers. At this moment, the heroines in countless worlds all fell in love with Kakarot. The image of Prince Charming in their hearts had long since quietly receded. Only the silver-haired man completely captured their heartstrings. Only such a powerful and righteous warrior, only then can he become the Prince Charming in their hearts. Compared with Kakarot, those useless male protagonists, such as Nobi Nobita, Makoto Ito, Shinji Ikari, Natsuki Ang, Tang San, Ca Isuken, Chijan, etc., useless male protagonists, long Aotian male protagonists, etc., it is simply rubbish among rubbish. There is no harm without comparison. Compared with Goku, who protects his friends and the universe, they are even worse. Kakarot should be an idol in all dimensions, the real top among all the worlds. I am not a righteous hero, but I will never forgive those who hurt my friends. Boom. As Wukong's roar fell, a strange blue light exploded around him. The powerful aura expanded several dimensions due to the strong fluctuations of emotions, and unparalleled power swept out, covering the entire starry sky, covering all the heavens and worlds. Bang! With a step, Wukong's body suddenly turned into a blue light, and the fist wrapped with unparalleled power fell on Ji in an instant. On Lian's face, the two of them were fighting fiercely again at this moment. In the sky, the two streams of light, one red and one blue, accelerated to the extreme, constantly reflected in the void, and collided horribly. Come on Kakarot, defeat Jiren and show us. At this moment, Vegeta, who was watching the battle, couldn't help but shout. In the fierce fight from fist to flesh, Goku suddenly punched Jiren's body and flew away. The azure blue light in his hand continued to condense, and the azure blue light continued to condense. The colored light was like a comet, instantly covering Jiren's body. Boom 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 boom. Finally, under everyone's gaze, the blue Kagong suddenly knocked Jiren onto the ring, and a huge crater appeared in front of everyone's eyes. His body was lying limply in it. At this moment, Jiren was completely defeated and had no fighting spirit at all. 1 moment, audiences from all dimensions cheered and kept shouting Kakarot's name. To read exciting novels, go to Fila Novel Network. However, just when Goku condensed a dazzling golden light in his hand and wanted to knock Jiren out, something unexpected happened. I saw that Wukong's pupils suddenly shrank, a mouthful of blood spat out from his mouth, and a large pool of blood splattered on his back. The whole person collapsed on the ground involuntarily, and the state of Zygon completely receded, and the black layman kept wrapping it up. Along with Wukong's miserable screams, black thunder continued to impact his body, and unbearable pain continued to emerge throughout his body. The beyond the limit god's power began to have a backlash on Wukong's body. Looking at this scene, Beerus and countless spectators in the audience couldn't help but their faces sank, and their mood fell to the bottom. 1 second they were shouting happily, but at this moment their voices suddenly stopped. That's right. Kakarot did win, indeed he won. But the backlash this time was so violent that even Kakarot with a strong will couldn't bear it. Jiren, throw him down, you don't want to lose right now. In the picture, the voice of the clown god of destruction suddenly came out, waking up the sluggish Jillian. With trembling hands, Jillian was fighting crazily in his heart, and finally, in the end, it was the idea of victory that defeated his true intention. After all, this is about the demise of the entire universe, and individualism seems extremely insignificant at this moment. Proud warrior son Wukong, it is not my intention to have a showdown with you in this form, but even if your existence disappears, you will still live in my memory forever. Farewell. Looking at Wukong kneeling on the ground, the dazzling orange light in Jiren's hand continued to condense, and the terrifying power instantly shattered the ring, causing Wukong's body to fall with countless gravel. However, just when Wukong was about to be eliminated, a white light blasted his body back onto the gravel floating in the void. This is Audiences from all dimensions couldn't help but be stunned, looking at the scene in front of them and froze on the spot. When the camera turned, Golden Frisia's figure appeared in everyone's eyes. Although he was panting and embarrassed at this moment, but for the supporters of the Saiyan fans and all the warriors of Dragon Ball Universe 7 in terms of Frisia. He is the savior. Woohoo, I will never bully Frisia again. Long live King Frisia. At this moment, countless spectators in the world couldn't help but burst into tears, cheering Frisia's name. At the same time, the figure of number 17 also slowly climbed up from the rubble, once again exciting countless viewers. 4.5. Number 17 is actually still alive. After that, as the screen continued to change, number 17 and Golden Frisia teamed up to fight against Jiren. In the end, with the efforts of number 17, Frisia and Goku who stood up again. At the cost of both Frisia and Goku being eliminated together, Jiren was finally eliminated. At this point, only number 17 is left in the ring. Universe 7 achieves final victory. At this moment, as the three people were eliminated, the entire Wushija and even all the worlds fell into deathly silence, and countless spectators were stunned. Silence, as the virus continues to spread throughout the world. At last, it turned out that Frisia, Goku, and number 17 jointly defeated Jiren. What is even more unimaginable is the Emperor of the Universe. The arrogant Frisia actually teamed up with his most hated Saiyan, Kakarot, to eliminate Jiren. This is really incredible. But, with the help of Frisia and number 17, Kakarot finally protected the entire universe once again and led Universe 7 to the final victory. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 234. After experiencing a short period of silence, the entire world was boiling with excitement, and countless people began to revel, just like the New Year, extremely festive. 2. Great, Kakarot, and the others won. In the world of pirates, Straw Hat Boy and his team couldn't help shouting. They felt extremely excited and their trust in their companions had deepened a lot. Along the way, they also relied on their companions to move forward. Now after witnessing the great scene, they will become more united. Kakarot is so handsome. After experiencing such a terrible backlash, he can still stand up. It's really great. In the world of Naruto, Naruto jumped up suddenly, his head almost hitting the roof of the classroom, with an expression of great excitement on his face. Not only Naruto and the friends in the Hokage village, but also countless spectators in the ninja world. At this moment, I felt my blood boiling and I was jumping for joy. This scene was just like when they watched Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and Sakura defeat Kaguya at Satsuki. It made everyone extremely excited. Oh, I'm on fire. Sure enough, the power of my friends is the most powerful. With my friends here, I won't be afraid of anything. In the fairy tale world, a group of members led by Natsu couldn't help but make a fuss. The entire guild seemed extremely noisy, but everyone's expressions were so happy and sincere. For them, the guild is the partners here are family members. For their families, they are willing to do anything, even if it means sacrificing their own lives, they will never back down. Burn my little universe, Athena will be guarded by us. In the world of Saint Seiya, the 5 strong men headed by 04 Arrows only feel passionate at this moment. The small universe in their bodies is constantly running, and the powerful aura continues to increase to the extreme. It's really unbelievable that Frisia, the Emperor of the Universe, would actually help those Saiyans in the end. In the world of death, a surprised expression appeared on Waiwaka's face, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. That Universe Emperor Frisia, that extremely powerful villain, actually helped those Saiyans in the end. It's extremely surprising. But it's right if you think about it, after all, no one wants to die. And after winning, Frisia can also be resurrected, which is not a loss. Marvelous, it's really great. One day I will definitely have a battle with real strong men like Kakarot and Jiren. The fierce battle with fists is really exciting. For 9 days and 10 days, Shi Hao's face was full of excitement, and his whole body felt like his blood was boiling. A monstrous fighting spirit kept pouring out, and his eyes were full of determination. One day, he will definitely break through all things. The barrier of the world, heading to all the worlds to have a hearty battle with countless strong men. And his primary target is this Kakarot. Win, win, we win. Great, we don't have to be eliminated. Goku is really awesome, and so is number 17. In the Dragon Ball world, located on the Earth in the 7th universe, Krillin and others couldn't help cheering. The expressions on their faces were extremely excited, and the shouts spread throughout the surrounding area. Not only them, but everyone in the entire 7th universe, all the creatures cheered and praised Goku and his name. However, most people deliberately avoided the taboo name, which was Frieza. Unexpectedly, they actually won, and Frieza did a pretty good job. In the God of Destruction, Beerus couldn't help laughing happily, and the smile on his face couldn't stop blooming. Sun Wukong and his group really exceeded all of our expectations. Besides, Whis couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Along the way, these Saiyans have given them countless surprises. They have exceeded their limits time and time again and reached unprecedented levels. This is really incredible. Snort, my future self will actually help Saiyan monkeys, located deep in the universe. Frieza had some displeasure on his face, but he didn't say much. After all, he didn't want to be wiped out by the king, and helping them was also helping himself. Jiren actually lost. Unlike the 7th universe, everyone in the 11th universe fell into a sluggish state, with extremely complicated expressions on their faces. Even Jiren, who had always been paralyzed, became extremely ugly. Unexpectedly, he actually lost. Although, you can't blame him, but if you lose, you lose. There is no doubt about it. Jiren, you have done a good job, let's practice hard, we will definitely defeat them in the future. At this time, Toppo spoke, his expression extremely determined. On the side, Jiren also nodded. After watching the scene in the future, his mood began to change slightly. They lost in the future, it does not mean that they will lose now. As long as they work hard, everything is possible. With Jiren out, Universe 11 must disappear. The picture continued to play, and as the voice of the great priest came out, dazzling blue light also emerged from the hands of the two kings. At this moment, all the proud fighting members and even the clown god of destruction lowered their heads and turned their attention to Jiren. Although Jiren loses and Universe 11 will disappear as a result, they all know that Jiren has tried his best. Jiren, thank you. Looking at Jiren lying on the ground, Toppo's voice slowly reached his ears. Why, for the sake of fighting, I even despise you at all. Looking at the eyes of the group of people, Jillian said with some difficulty. Jiren, the battle has just ended, but I haven't fought enough yet. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. At the same time, Wukong also struggled to support his body and came to Jiren and others. Maybe you don't like it, but I feel that through fighting we seem becoming stronger together. Looks like we'll meet again next time. Listening to Goku's words and recalling every bit of the past, Jiren couldn't help but smile, feeling filled with emotion. However, as the blue light shone, Jiren and his party instantly turned into nothingness. On the 17th, have you decided on your wish? At this time, the great priest looked at number 17 on the stage and slowly asked. Then, under everyone's gaze, the 7 Super Dragon Balls appeared in everyone's eyes again, and the High Priest also began to summon the Super Dragon. Even the two kings jumped down from the throne and looked at the 7, the location of Super Dragon Ball. Buzz. As the dazzling golden light continued to scatter throughout the Wu realm, the huge and extremely sacred super dragon once again appeared in the eyes of all audiences in all major dimensions. It is still so huge and sacred, that indescribable power and that shocking feeling once again swept across the world, attracting the attention of countless powerful people. On the 17th, please tell me your wish. As the voice of the great priest sounded again, King Kwan's figure also appeared in the air, and he said softly and cutely to No 17, you can say anything, you can do anything. Everything can be achieved. What do you want? Under the gaze of everyone, number 17 turned his attention to Wukong, and then a smile appeared on his face. Under the incredible eyes of many people, number 17 expressed his wish. Let all the lost universes be restored to their original state. In this regard, not only the king in the picture feels incredible, but also most people in the world feel incredible. Number 17. That guy actually makes such a wish. Is this enough? In the picture, the two kings couldn't help but ask in surprise. Nature conservation officials are not idle, change quickly. As the voice of number 17 fell, the great priest also began to make wishes to the super dragon. Buzz. Under a bunch of unintelligible divine words, the super dragon's ruby-like eyes suddenly erupted with dazzling red light, and its body continued to emit dazzling golden light in everyone's eyes. It was shaking constantly at this moment. As a golden divine dragon soared into the sky, the dazzling golden light illuminated the entire heavens and worlds, even covering 12 universes. All the gods of destruction and angels stood up at this moment of 300. Moment. All the universes have been restored to their original state under the power of the super dragon, and all the universes and warriors that were wiped out by the king, they are all resurrected too. Such a shocking scene made many powerful people in the world feel numb, and their hearts were extremely shocked. Super Dragon. He actually has such a terrifying ability, and he can restore 8 universes and so many creatures in an instant. This is really terrible, and even the two supreme gods who are at the top of the universe, the King of Kwan. They were all ignored by the Super Dragon, and he even had to take the initiative to jump off the throne. Doesn't this mean that Super Divine Dragon is at least on the same level as Quan Wang, and may even surpass Quan Wang? However, compared to what a few people thought, the vast majority of the audience felt extremely happy. They couldn't agree more with this ending. There is no ending better than this. The warriors from all the universes in the Dragon Ball world looked at the scene in front of them and were filled with emotion. They also paid the highest respect to the warriors of the 7th universe in their hearts. Unexpectedly, they would actually make such a wish. This kind of kindness cannot be repaid. In the picture, Frisia seemed a little tormented by such a happy scene, saying that it would be better to send him back to hell as soon as possible. Listening to the elves singing and dancing is better than watching you here looking happy. How about you become happy too? Under Frisia's surprised eyes, Y suddenly waved the scepter and revived Frisia. This is a gift from Lord Beerus. He said that you fought very well in the end. Is this okay? I don't plan to stop doing bad things from now on. With a sneer, Frisia couldn't help but smile. Then let me defeat you. Wukong and others didn't pay too much attention to this. After all, strength is king after all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 235. In the picture, the two kings also came to Wukong's side, and the three of them started playing happily. Having said that, No 17's wish was a bit unexpected. Looking at the three people playing, Kaishin couldn't help but sigh. Mr. Quan Wang had already expected this result. At this time, the voice of the high priest came out slowly. Under the nervous gazes of Kaishin and Beerus, the high priest looked at everyone and then said, King Wan considers that there will be some warriors left until the end. Worry about the benevolence of other universes. That, what if he makes other wishes? At this time, Beerus couldn't help but ask nervously. And this scene also attracted the attention of everyone in the world, as well as the eyes of all the warriors, Kaios, and gods of destruction in the Dragon Ball world. In the vast majority of amid the horrified gazes of some of the audience, the great priest's calm voice came out: if he makes a selfish wish, King Quan will clear everything. Hiss. Hearing this, most of the audience couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, their eyes widened, and they only felt shuddering all over. Damn! It's so sinister, this King Quan is so vicious. After working hard, there is such a test in the end. If number 17 makes the wish he wants, wouldn't it mean that the seventh universe will also be in trouble? In this regard, the future of the Dragon Ball world was originally erased. The warriors of the seven universes and the god of destruction couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, fine. They didn't win in the future. Otherwise, I'm afraid that after they won and made what they wanted, they will be eliminated by the king. Complete, Lord Quan Wang, this is what he planned, and Wukong and the others have to be kind-hearted, otherwise I will be doomed. In the seventh universe's god of destruction, Beerus couldn't help wiping the cold sweat from his forehead and slowly exhaled. This way, they all know it. It seems that we need to set up a few more tests when we hold a power conference in the future. In King Quan's palace, King Quan's soft and cute voice came out, his eyes full of expectation. The battle in the character inventory video already made him very interesting. After learning what might happen in the future, you will definitely work hard to become stronger. The tournament of power will definitely be more interesting than the current one. Everyone in Universe 7, your battles are wonderful, and your wishes are also wonderful. In the picture, under the watch of the High Priest, angels, and others, Wukong and others also returned to the earth. After winning the victory, all the soldiers also returned to the earth again, and came to Bulma's house to eat and drink. And on the 17th, with Bulma's funding, he successfully sailed around the world on a cruise ship. And Frieza also returned to his base and became the emperor of the universe again. After that, Goku and Vegeta we also came to the place where we met for the first time again, but Wukong did not fully master Zai-Ji-Gong. In order to become stronger, Wukong and Ji also went to Bad Star training again. The character inventory video is not over yet. Will Wukong and the others become more powerful? Looking at the still unfinished picture, many people in the world couldn't help but be stunned, and then expressions of excitement appeared on their faces. Unexpectedly. That Kakarot has not reached his limit yet. It can also become stronger. You must know that Kakarot, who is at the peak of his ultimate freedom and ultimate willpower, is already comparable to the god of destruction. He is truly the body of Isaiah to rival the god of destruction, and even Yuchu has surpassed the god of destruction. Could it be said, can they still become stronger and even surpass Beerus, the god of destruction? As the scenes continue to play, the earth has returned to peace again. Goku and Vegeta have also been practicing hard, but occasionally they come to the earth to paddle. Wukong, why do you still pursue stronger power? Is it possible, are you eyeing the location of the god of destruction? Looking at Goku devouring food in front of him, Whis couldn't help but ask. In this regard, Beerus became interested, looked at Goku's figure and slowly said, is that so? Then I can't sit idly by and watch. Not at all. What's the use of that thing? Shaking his head, Wukong quickly denied Whis' conjecture, and then continued to explain, at the previous Universal Martial Arts Conference, I discovered that there are many powerful guys in other universes. Those guys are really exciting. In this regard, Vegeta felt very disdainful, thinking that Goku was just a single-celled animal. And the reason why Vegeta became stronger was because of Frieza. Because Goku asked Frieza to, he was resurrected, and he just wanted to prevent Frieza from doing whatever he wanted. After all, Frieza had become so powerful in such a short period of time after his resurrection, and he might become even stronger in the future, so he couldn't relax at all. In this regard, the strong men in all major dimensions are also a little bit dumbfounded, but if you think about it carefully, it makes sense. After all, Frisia will never really change his evil ways. He will definitely want to do something in the future. So, Vegeta's concerns are right. In the picture, Bulma received a call from Trunks and discovered that the 6 Dragon Balls and Dragon Ball radar in his home had been stolen, and the prisoner was guys from Frisia's Legion. So, Goku and others couldn't help but think of Frisia's wish. You know, the wish to surpass Shenron's ability cannot be realized. Frisia's desire to become the #1 in the universe is absolutely impossible. And Vegeta felt that Frisia's wish was to become immortal. So, Goku, others and Whis decided to go to the Ice Continent to find the last Dragon Ball to prevent Frisia. The wish came true. As for why Bulma wants to collect Dragon Balls, her wish is to be younger, and 5 years younger. As for why I only want to be 5 years younger, it's because I don't want to be gossiped about. At this point, the powerful people from all major dimensions couldn't help but laugh and cry. It was both funny and a waste. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. The camera turned and the scene came to the depths of the universe. Frisia's figure appeared in everyone's eyes, and his faint voice slowly came out. You have memorized the method to make your wish come true. Remember, please feel free to worry. Looking at Frisia's face, Chikano asked cautiously that, after collecting all the Dragon Balls, what wish does Lord Frisia want to fulfill? Do you still want immortality as before? Oh I changed my mind. In response to this, Frisia couldn't help but laugh wantonly, and then slowly continued with an annoyed expression. I once felt the misery of being unable to move in that hell. Living all the time but unable to move only increased the pain. So, how about just wishing that no harm will come to your body? In this case, the game will not be fun. What is it? You can't guess it? Listening to the conversation between Frisia and Kakano, Bailey Bulletin couldn't help but slowly said, do you want, increase your height, right? After saying this, Frisia's pupils suddenly shrank, and his face looked a little unnatural. Bailey Blue, what are you talking about? Besides, Kakano couldn't help but his face changed drastically, and he almost collapsed on the ground. Ignoring Kakano, Bailey Bulletin smiled faintly and turned his attention to Frisia. Those people who secretly say that you are tall? All the short soldiers have been wiped out by you, right? As expected of Bailey Blue, you got the answer right. In response to this, Frisia's face couldn't help but become a little embarrassed. After all, his secret has been seen through by others, and it is normal to be a little shy. Moreover, he is no longer the cold and ruthless emperor of the universe who treats his subordinates. Still relatively tolerant. Later, Frisia said that his wish was to grow 5 centimeters taller, and why not grow taller? The reason was similar to Bulma. After hearing this, all the world's most of the audience couldn't help but burst out laughing, almost breathless from laughing. Frisia is so funny. This guy's wish is not to become immortal, but to grow taller. 5 centimeters. I didn't expect that the majestic emperor of the universe would actually feel inferior because of his height. At this moment, those tall men couldn't help but hold their heads high and show confidence. The confident faces seemed to say, look, are you there yet? My height of 8, 19, 2 or more than 2 meters is something even the emperor of the universe, Frisia, would envy. Unexpectedly, Frisia's future wish was just to grow 5 centimeters taller. In the Dragon Ball world, Klin and others couldn't help but smile, and almost lost their breath. But smiling and smiling. However, everyone cast their joking eyes on bald Klin, and one can imagine the meaning in their eyes. You know, this guy Klin. Zhao's. It seems that from now to the future, it seems that it will always be this height. Hateful. Although I am not tall, I am size 17, although Klin was a little agitated about this, he still felt extremely proud in his heart. Humph! Are you laughing at my short height? Don't you know who my wife is? She is number 18. What a beauty! 1. It's too late for you to envy. Ha 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 ha. Without, unexpectedly, Frisia's wish is actually this, in the god of destruction, Beerus burst out laughing instantly. The rice he had just eaten suddenly spit out, holding his belly and laughing. It's really interesting, what kind of sparks will Gaku and the others create when they rub against each other. Besides, Weiss also felt very interesting and became more and more interested in the upcoming future. Hateful, I didn't expect that my wish would be discovered like this. Deep in the universe, Frisia's face turned livid and his whole body was trembling uncontrollably. Although his wish at this moment is still to be immortal, it is more than just a wish. To grow 5 centimeters taller is his second wish. Unexpectedly, someone has discovered it now. Moreover, looking at the 5 centimeters and various taunting words that were constantly brushed on the barrage, Frisia was so angry that he almost wanted to find Bailey Bulletin and kill him. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 236. The camera turned and the scene came to another spaceship, where an alien woman Zaire and an alien man Remo were recruiting soldiers for Frisia's legion. After all, Frisia had just been resurrected and needed strong combatants to strengthen Frisia's army. The two of them happened to receive the signal from the Vampa planet, and when the spacecraft landed on the planet, an old man with a tail and wearing a Frisia Legion combat uniform kept rushing towards the landing place of the spacecraft. That's Asian, in the world of Dragon Ball. Vegeta and Nappa couldn't help shouting, with extremely horrified faces. Paragas, who was watching the scene, also felt unusually excited and extremely excited in his heart. The future, they will be found by Frisia's Legion in the future. Although I don't know how many years it will be. But as long as there is hope, that is enough. In the picture, this man's name is Paragas, a Saiyan who belongs to Frisia's army. He has been trapped here for decades. Even his hair and beard have turned white, and Sarai used combat power to detect at that time. It was surprisingly discovered that his combat power was as high as 4,200. However, the characters who appeared next shocked many powerful people from all dimensions. Broly. Looking at the huge alien monster that surrounded them, Paragas couldn't help but shout towards the sky, and the sound continued to spread throughout the surrounding area. When the camera turned, a man with a scar on his face and a band around his neck was wearing a silver collar. The man with a sinister face suddenly raised his head, and an extremely powerful aura suddenly filled the air from his body. The amazing sense of oppression made many strong men tremble. Phew! No. For the slightest reason, Broly's footsteps suddenly stepped forward, and his body was like an exploding cannonball, instantly blasting away the huge monster in front of Paragas and the other three. And Broly's combat power is even beyond detection by detectors. So, the happy Kratu took Broly and his son back to see Frisia, and Frisia was also amazed when he saw Broly and his son. You know, planet Vegeta was destroyed by his own hands back then. Unexpectedly, besides Kakarot and others, there were actually 2 Saiyans alive. Are you really a Saiyan? It doesn't seem to have a tail. Looking behind Broly, Frisia said slowly. Yes, one of the characteristics of Saiyans is the transformation into a giant ape. Sometimes he transforms into a giant ape and I can't control it, so I cut off his tail. Besides, Paragas said respectfully. Afterwards, Frisia looked at Broly, who had an extraordinary aura, and took in the Saiyan father and son, planning to take them to Earth to find Goku and Vegeta. However, as new recruits, Broly and his son were made things difficult for them by the veterans. A drunkard came to provoke Broly. However, the next second, the drunkard was beaten up by Broly without any surprise. If Paragas hadn't taken out the remote control in time and controlled Broly, otherwise Broly might have gone berserk. In response to this, the strong men from all major dimensions couldn't help but take a breath. Apart from being shocked by Broly's strength, they were also very uncomfortable with what his father did. After all, how could someone treat their son like a pet and even wear a collar to control him? This is really abominable. In the scene, Ci couldn't bear to see him educating Broly in this way, so he deliberately walked up to talk to Paragus, stole the remote control that controlled Broly, and finally crushed the remote control with his kick. Got it? Well done. In response to this, many people in the major worlds shouted out, and some women even felt pity for Broly. Obviously. Broly is so strong and powerful, and he is the best thing in the heart of a lonely, empty, and cold young woman. Candidate. I didn't expect, that it was wasted by that old guy. Later, Ci and the two learned through understanding that Broly grew up on an uninhabited planet and had never seen other people. He didn't even have a friend. Originally, Broly had a monster friend, but Broly's father wanted to take revenge on King Vegeta and didn't want Broly to delay his training, so he beat off the monster's ears. From then on Broly didn't even have a friend, and could only hang its ears on his body. But even so, Broly would still listen to his father's words. On the other side, members of Frieza's army on Earth also found the Dragon Balls, but Goku and Vegeta had also arrived and knocked down their spaceship. Fortunately, Frieza arrived in time, and with the Kigong, the clouds on the Earth instantly dispersed, and then Frieza's spaceship slowly landed on the ice continent. Goku and Vegeta not only felt Frieza's aura, but they also had another very strong aura, and that guy was Broly. Aren't these two Saiyans? Looking at the figures of Paragus and Broly, Vegeta couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. On the other side, the moment he saw Vegeta, Paragus recognized Vegeta in front of him. He was the son of King Vegeta back then. What are you doing here, Frieza? Without paying too much attention to the two Saiyans, Goku looked at Frieza and said. You already know, of course I want to get the Dragon Ball and fulfill my wish. Raising his hand and sucking the 7 Dragon Balls in front of his eyes, Frieza slowly said. Frieza, who are those two people? At this time, Goku began to ask the two Saiyans on the side. These two are the newest members of Frieza's army, Broly and his father. As Frieza's voice fell, Paragus slowly stepped forward. You may have discovered that they are Saiyans just like you. I don't know these two guys. After introducing the origins of Broly and Paragus, Paragus also told Vegeta that he would never let him go. The father and son came here for revenge. In this regard, Vegeta only felt inexplicably, he didn't know about this at all. Finally, the angry Broly couldn't hold back the anger in his heart, and the terrifying power continued to spread out. To read exciting novels, go to Fila Novel Network. After getting Frieza's permission, Paragus also issued an order to attack Broly. In response to this, expressions of disdain, sympathy, pity, etc. appeared on the faces of everyone in the universe and even Vegeta himself. You know, Goku and Vegeta are now strong enough to fight the god of destruction. Although Broly is indeed very powerful, his strength is only at the super level at best, and revenge is simply a fantasy. Roaring angrily, Broly's body suddenly shot out, like an offline bow and arrow, rushing towards the two of them with unparalleled power. Facing the powerful aura and power of Broly, Goku and Vegeta prepared fighting postures at the same time, but Broly's target was Vegeta. Boom! With a sudden punch, Broly's fist landed on Vegeta's blocking arms. Facing Broly's terrifying punch, Vegeta's arms retreated with a confident smile on his face. Boom! He raised his hands to break away from Broly's fist, but Vegeta did not prepare to fight back. Instead, he easily dodged Broly's pursuit and continued to retreat, testing the limit of Broly's speed. Facing Vegeta, who was constantly dodging, Broly punched out suddenly. The terrifying speed instantly exploded the atmosphere, and he fell towards Vegeta with unparalleled force. However, facing Broly, who was full of loopholes, Vegeta easily dodged his attack, and then kicked him away with a sudden kick, leaving 2 deep marks on the ice. After a while, I am no longer cold after exercising like this. After defusing Broly's attack with skill, Vegeta suddenly pulled off his green jacket and punched Broly in the face, causing him to lean back. In order not to losing his balance, Broly stamped his right foot on the ground to resist the pressure, and at the same time, he punched Vegeta with his right fist. In fact, the right fist was just a fake move, and the real attack was actually his left fist. However, in the face of facing Vegeta, who is extremely experienced in fighting, Broly's fake moves did not deceive Vegeta. After bending down to avoid Broly's left fist, Vegeta leaned back again to avoid Broly's right fist. He punched and kicked Broly out with a sudden kick. Boom! Looking at Broly flying out, Vegeta stepped forward suddenly, and his body was like a cannonball, and he chased Broly fiercely. The figures of the 2 people turned into 2 streams of white light, leaving huge holes on the ice continent. Boom! With a loud roar, the white flame suddenly exploded around Broly, and in front of him. While chasing Vegeta, Broly has begun to adapt to his own power. Not only has his speed caught up with Vegeta, but his power has also been greatly improved. So fast! He seems to be still adapting to the method of using power. Looking at the sudden appearance of Broly in front of him, Vegeta suddenly blocked Broly's attack and sighed secretly in his heart. Bang 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 bang. Feeling Broly's attack after the change, Vegeta also changed his fighting style. The 2 fiercely fought fiercely in mid-air. Terrifying invisible fluctuations continued to spread out, and storms comparable to level 12 continued to wreak havoc on the entire city. Ice continent. It seems like this kid Vegeta has been doing a lot of training. Watching the fight between the 2, Paragus couldn't help but sigh. He knew Broly's strength very well. He didn't expect that Euslician Prince to be able to keep up with Broly. Profit. After all, Vegeta has experienced many cruel battles, and Broly seems not used to fighting yet. He probably has never competed with humans. Besides, Frisia's faint voice came out. On the side, Paragus said that he usually does simulation training with Broly, but Frisia said that his combat power was too low and it was not considered simulation training at all. However, Frisia can tell from the battle between the 2 that Broly has begun to slowly adapt to fighting. At this, the powerful people in the world are also amazed. Although most people their strength may not be as strong as Broly, but after all, they are also well-known strong men, so naturally we can see some clues. That Broly. It's scary, he is a natural warrior. He is actually during the battle, he kept getting stronger quickly, and there seemed to be no limit. It was really terrifying. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 237. Good, so powerful, this Broly is so powerful, he can actually fight on par with that Vegeta. Upstairs, you are blind, didn't you see that Vegeta is still in normal condition? Transform into a Super Saiyan in a moment and beat this Broly in seconds. Although Vegeta has hidden his own strength, it does not mean that Broly has fully displayed all his strength. Maybe Broly can also transform into a Super Saiyan. Transform into a Super Saiyan? So what? You have to know that Vegeta has a dark blue form, which is powerful enough to defeat the God of Destruction. That's right, Vegeta in his dark blue form can definitely defeat Broly with ease. Broly should not be underestimated. His aura, strength, and speed are constantly increasing during the battle, as if there is no limit. I am afraid that Vegeta has really met his opponent now. Don't worry, even if Vegeta can't do it, there's still Kakarot, right? What are you worried about? Don't forget, there is Frisia on the side. If the 2 of them join forces, they may not be easy to deal with. I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder if I can see Wukong perform the ultimate freedom skill this time. That long silver hair is so handsome. +1+1, Kakarot is really awesome. I have made a poster of that form and put it up at home for viewing. Dash. On the screen, countless barrages continued to pass by. Some people were lamenting Broly's great strength, but some people said that although Broly is very powerful, he is still far behind compared to Vegeta and the others. Far away. There are also people who are looking forward to Goku once again using the ultimate intention Kung Fu, but in general, not many people care too much about Broly. After all, it is impossible for a Saiyan to just show up. Is he stronger than Kakarot and the others? What's more, that Broly already lives on a remote planet and has experienced very little battles. Even if his power increases greatly in a short period of time, he cannot become too powerful. It's amazing. The Saiyan named Broly is much stronger than me now. In the world of Dragon Ball, Goku couldn't help but feel excited as he looked at Broly, who was constantly fighting with future Vegeta. Broly. This Saiyan is actually so powerful, but in front of me in the future, it will be like that. In the spaceship, Vegeta raised his eyebrows, and then spoke with some disdain. You know, in the future, in the 7th universe, besides Beerus, the god of destruction, Kakarot, and Frieza, he can be called invincible. A Saiyan appears out of nowhere and wants to fight against him, the prince of the Saiyans. Oh, the Saiyan monkeys and the Saiyan monkeys are killing each other. This scene is so interesting. Located deep in the universe, Frieza couldn't help but show a joking expression on his face. Why does the Saiyan give me a different feeling? In the God of Destruction, Beerus frowned and looked at Broly's figure with some confusion. Lord Beerus, this Saiyan looks very extraordinary. Maybe we can find him to prepare for the future tournament of power. Besides, Whice's eyes flashed, and he felt a little surprised. The scene continued to play, and the two continued to fight fiercely, but Broly's speed became faster and faster. While defending Vegeta after hitting the heavy hammer, Broly's body suddenly fell on the ice. Boom! Looking at Vegeta in the sky, who was still in the attack position with a heavy blow, Broly's whole body white gas flame suddenly exploded. The aura suddenly rose again at this moment, and his body was like a white stream of light, suddenly rushing towards Vegeta's direction. Bang! Looking at the charging Broly, Vegeta wanted to face him head-on to resist his attack. Broly's speed was obviously superior, and he easily reached behind Vegeta. His huge fist suddenly landed on Vegeta's face with unparalleled force. And it was this time, Vegeta became angry and began to wrestle with Broly in mid-air. Terrifying power continued to emerge from his palms, and a faint golden light reflected his whole body. You are such a difficult guy. The forehead suddenly hit Broly's head. Vegeta suddenly punched out and landed on Broly's left face, sending him flying away and smashing into the ice peak in the distance. Ah! With the roar that resounded throughout the world, Vegeta's hair and eyebrows suddenly changed to green, and then turned to golden yellow again. The terrifying golden arrogance suddenly exploded around him, and the breath swept through the entire area, and the terrifying pressure instantly blasted away the ice peaks under his feet. Hiss! Just now is it an illusion? Why does Vegeta's hair seem to turn green? Looking at this scene, most of the powerful people in the world couldn't help but be slightly stunned, with some surprise on their faces. Vegeta. Did he turn green just at that moment? Could it be that Vegeta realized the same green-haired Super Saiyan form as Kyle? What is that? In the picture, Paragus looked at Vegeta's appearance and couldn't help but take a few steps back. The expression on his face was extremely surprised. What is going on? Why did Vegeta turn green all of a sudden, and then golden again? Broly can't turn into a Super Saiyan. Besides, Frieza couldn't help but feel a little confused. You know, Broly is very powerful under normal conditions. Could it be that Broly can't transform into a Super Saiyan? In this regard, Paragus Ride's face suddenly changed, and the legend of the Saiyan people came out and appeared behind Vegeta in an instant, trying to launch a fierce attack on him. However, in front of Vegeta in his Super Saiyan form, Broly's attacks had already slowed down, and he easily knocked him away with a punch, followed by a flying kick that knocked him down hard on the ice. Bang 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 bang. The golden flames suddenly exploded, and Vegeta continued to chase Broly in mid-air. The attacks landed on Broly without any pause. As Vegeta's attacks continued to fall, Broly, the power of Prophet, is becoming stronger and stronger. What's going on with this guy? To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. He punched Broly in the face, but the terrifying power of Vegeta's punch that could shatter the stars didn't actually send Broly flying away, but was hit hard in the abdomen by a punch. He was growing too fast. Thoughts emerged in his mind. Vegeta kept fighting fiercely with Broly in mid-air, but it was clear that he was able to do it not long ago. Super Saiyan Vegeta, who had the upper hand, was actually suppressed and beaten by Broly at this moment. Looking at this scene, the strong men from all major dimensions had extremely horrified expressions on their faces, and felt unprecedented disbelief in their hearts. How is this possible? That Broly is just normal, how can he have the strength to easily crush Super Saiyan Vegeta? This guy is so powerful, he keeps fighting in his normal form. In the picture, watching the two people fighting fiercely, Wukong's face was full of surprise, and his whole body couldn't help but feel his blood boiling. A strong fighting spirit continued to emerge from his heart. Phew! In the sky, two streams of light, one yellow and one white, continued to rise into the sky, and as the camera zoomed in, Vegeta actually closed his eyes, and then a golden red light continued to appear around him, and what followed was its red flames that wrap around the body. The Super Saiyan God is coming. Boom! As the red flame-like arrogance exploded around Vegeta, his pupils, eyebrows and thorny hair all turned red, and the extremely powerful aura of God suddenly emerged from his body, and his eyes full of peace. Kindness. Can Vegeta become a Super Saiyan God? In response to this, the powerful men from all over the world couldn't help but be stunned, with some surprises on their faces. Not only them, but even Broly in the picture couldn't help but be stunned when he saw Vegeta's state at this moment. He felt extremely frightened, as if he had encountered a natural enemy. Buzz. He stretched out his palm, and invisible waves in Vegeta's palm continuously bombarded the passively defensive Broly. Instantly defeating his defense. White flames exploded around Broly again, and his speed, strength, and aura suddenly increased again, and he continued to rush towards Vegeta, and the overwhelming shadows of fists continued to fall. However, in front of Vegeta, who is in the realm of God, Broly's attacks have no effect at all. There are flaws all over his body, and he can easily dodge continuously. Ha! As Broly roared and punched with all his strength, Vegeta slowly stretched out his left hand and easily grabbed the fist that was bombarded like a cannonball, without any emotion on his face. Boom! Without too much hesitation, Vegeta in his Super Sailor God state punched Broly in the face. The terrifying force instantly blasted Broly's body away at a terrifying speed that exceeded the speed of sound many times. Got out. Boom! After crashing through dozens of mountains, Broly's body was finally buried in the snow-capped mountains. Thick white fog continued to form, and the entire mountain peak continued to tremble. Real, I never thought Vegeta could be so powerful. Looking at Vegeta's godlike appearance, Paragus couldn't help but kneel to the ground, his face extremely shocked. Is this already his limit? Hearing this, Frieza couldn't help but cast his eyes on Paragus. After the latter nodded firmly, while walking back to the spaceship, Frisia continued to say, then let's do this first, today's battle will come first. That's it? However, with terrifying power embedded in the iceberg, Broly began to shake violently. An extremely powerful aura continued to rise on his body. The endless terrifying pressure continued to destroy the surrounding icebergs, and he continued to feel unspeakable anger welling up in his chest. Really boring. Looking at Broly's figure, a golden shockwave with unparalleled power in Vegeta's hands suddenly enveloped him. The terrifying power instantly filled the entire area with a radius of tens of thousands of meters, overwhelming Broly. The body was blasted into the cold ocean. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 238. Looking at Broly being blasted into the sea by Vegeta in the picture, the strong men from all dimensions were also filled with emotion and couldn't help but admire the Saiyan named Broly. It seems that the battle is over. This Broly is indeed powerful, but it is still too reluctant to fight against Super Saiyan God Vegeta. In the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara shook his head and felt a little regretful. You know, Broly at this moment is just at a normal level. If he can transform into a Super Saiyan, he may still be able to see something. But if you look at it like this, I'm afraid the outcome of the battle is already clear. The next step is to see if Frisia wants to continue the fight. What a terrifying Saiyan. How come these guys are more perverted than the other? I feel that if this Broly transforms into a Super Saiyan, his strength will become extremely terrifying. In the pirate world, Whitebeard on the Moby Dick couldn't help but sigh, with incomparable admiration and fear in his heart. These Saiyans, it's so abnormal. If they come to the world of pirates, I'm afraid no one will be their opponent. Even the strongest men in the entire sea combined can't even withstand a shockwave from the opponent. This Broly's talent and strength are very powerful, even surpassing any existence that has appeared so far. 480. It is a pity that his strength has only reached this point after decades of neglect. In the world of death, Yamamoto Genri Usai Shijikuni squinted his eyes and couldn't help but sigh. You know, why Saiyans like Kakarot and Vegeta can become so powerful? It's because they have been constantly transcending limits, wandering between life and death. And this is also the reason why the Saiyans can continue to become stronger. However, the Broly in front of him has not experienced so many lives and deaths. He has only reached this point after decades of training. If he is allowed to go through countless battles like Kakarot and the others, then I'm afraid that Broly's strength will reach an extremely terrifying level now. Even the Super Saiyan God may not be his opponent. Why do I feel that my ancient holy body is not as good as the blood of Saiyans? Damn it, in the world of one leaf covering the sky, Yefan couldn't help but take a breath of cold air and couldn't help but complain. Damn it, these Saiyans are too perverted. In just a few decades, he has cultivated from a level that is stronger than humans to a level that is comparable to the great holy body. This is really shocking. If you let him practice, I'm afraid he may not be able to reach this level after practicing for 100 years. Future, will I face those two Saiyans in the future? In the world of Dragon Ball, Broly's eyes widened, his whole body couldn't help but tremble, and he felt fear in his heart. You know, Kakarot and Vegeta are terrifying beings with super blue forms. One of them has mastered the more powerful Deep Blue, and the other has mastered some kind of ultimate freedom that even the God of Destruction cannot achieve. No matter how strong he becomes, he can't defeat these two perverts. Although, sometimes he will become crazy and unable to control himself, and his strength will increase significantly, but this does not mean that he is better than them. This huge gap in strength is simply asking for death. Interesting. Seems like there will be something good to watch. In the God of Destruction, Beerus raised his brows with some surprise on his face. Buzz. The scene continued to play. Broly's eyes were closed tightly after being blasted into the sea, his fists were clenched suddenly, and his whole body was filled with golden light. Emerging, an unparalleled powerful aura instantly expanded, as if there was no limit, and the posture continued to surge several times. This is... Looking at this scene, the powerful men from all major dimensions couldn't help but froze, and the warriors in the Dragon Ball world suddenly stood up, their eyes widened, and their faces were full of disbelief. Could it be that this Broly going to transform into Super Saiyan form? How can this be? Kindness. In the middle of the screen, Super Saiyan God Vegeta and Goku, who were holding their arms, suddenly felt an extremely powerful aura. The next second, boom! The entire sea surface began to become churning, and with a roar that resounded throughout the world, the entire ocean continued to turn into a huge whirlpool, and countless seawater continued to pour in. Boom! Along with a dazzling golden light, a huge wave suddenly burst into the sky. It was located in the center of the whirlpool, and Broly's figure was prominently among it. Ah 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 ah! As an earth-shaking roar sounded, terrifying hurricanes continued to sweep out. The terrifying aura continued to sweep across the entire planet, and even many strong men in the world felt their scalps numb. Are you kidding me? Have you seen this kind of Saiyan? Looking at the terrifying aura erupting from Broly, Wukong couldn't help but widen his eyes, trying his best to resist the terrifying storm swept out by Broly. Kakarot, do you have any fairy beans with you? Glancing at Goku's figure, after getting a no answer from the other party, Vegeta's face couldn't help but become extremely solemn. He stared at Broly's figure. This situation is not a joke. Just for fun. Facing Broly, who exuded such a terrifying aura, even Vegeta, who was in the Super Saiyan God state, felt extremely shocked at this moment. An overwhelming sense of oppression continued to sweep over him, making him feel incomparably uncomfortable. Ah. On the other side, as Broly roared, his whole body was shrouded in green light, his whole body was trembling constantly, and green energy bombs suddenly blasted out from his mouth. It even blasted away everything within tens of thousands of meters in the atmosphere. It is not difficult to imagine. If such a terrorist attack fell on the Earth, I am afraid that the entire planet would be reduced to ashes in an instant. Boom! To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. The red flames of God suddenly exploded around Vegeta. His speed was approaching the extreme, and the fist in his hand was wrapped with unparalleled power and landed on the ground. Broly's face. However, facing Super Saiyan God Vegeta's full blow, Broly's body didn't even tremble at all, as if Vegeta's fist was hitting an indestructible thick wall at this moment, unable to shake it at all. Boom! In mid-air, after receiving Vegeta's full blow, Broly punched out suddenly, and continued to fight Vegeta in the void. Regardless of strength or speed, Broly was already far away at this moment. Surpassed Vegeta in Super Saiyan God form. In this regard, Paragas also explained to Frieza that this form was when Broly transformed into a giant ape, and it did not turn into a slow-moving giant ape, but directly completed the transformation into a human form. And this will also cause Broly to be unable to control his power and fall into a state of rage. Hey, what about you? Just when Broly was about to continue chasing Vegeta, Goku's voice came out in the distance. When he looked into Broly's eyes, Goku had already taken off his coat and was wearing a martial arts uniform. How about you come and play with me? Kakarot. The two roared, and their bodies burst out at the same time, suddenly colliding fiercely in the air. Broly's terrifying strength instantly suppressed the normal Goku, leaving him without the slightest ability to fight back, and could only be passively beaten. With zero. Boom! Seeing this, Wukong's face also showed excitement. Golden flames suddenly exploded around him, and the aura on his body suddenly surged again. The two fought again in mid-air, and countless attack energy bombs continued to fall. Bang 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 bang. In the sky, two figures kept flashing. Their speed reached the extreme. Violent sonic booms continued to explode around them, and fierce collisions continued in the void. But even so, Goku, who is in his super form, is still no match for Broly and can only be passively at a disadvantage. Buzz. Super Saiyan God. Facing the bursting Broly, Wukong's aura suddenly experienced a qualitative change. The aura of God suddenly emerged from his body, and his hair color, pupils, and eyebrows instantly turned red. Boom. Without any hesitation, facing the fist with infinite power, Wukong grabbed Broly's arm and threw him away with a force of 4 or 2. Hey, calm down. Facing Broly, who was almost going crazy, Wukong's body suddenly burst out with red flames of God. The incomparable aura spread instantly, and an invisible wave suddenly spread out in Wukong's hand, and the red flames of God burst out. The aura suddenly enveloped Broly's body, making it difficult for him to move. We have always been here, living peacefully on this earth. Although we have experienced many things in the past, you are not a bad person, I know this. Looking at Broly, who was constantly trying to escape the aura of God, Wukong's voice slowly came out. Stop fighting, there is no good in listening to those bad people. Ah. In response to this, the ape Broly has almost lost his mind at this moment. The powerful green breath spurts out directly, transforming Wukong's God's Breath 3.9 with a counter-attack attitude, and even goes further. It restricted Wukong's movements. Boom. Facing Broly's fist that contained infinite power, Wukong could only catch the fist with his face, and this punch also lifted the restriction and allowed Wukong to immediately grab it. He seized the inertia of Broly's straight punch and dropped him to the ground. Boom. Such a terrifying force instantly caused the entire ice continent to shake, and spider web-like cracks continued to spread across the entire ice surface. Roaring, the green aura around Broly suddenly exploded again, expanding several times compared to the original coverage, and the powerful aura continued to rise on him. The terrifying sense of oppression continued to sweep across the world. Hiss. Looking at the astonishing Broly in the picture, countless strong men in the world couldn't help but take a breath, and their whole bodies began to tremble continuously. I stood up, feeling extremely fearful in my heart. This Broly. It's really terrible. Compared to Broly, Kakarot's super match mode is simply weak. Even in Super Sailor God state, Broly was suppressed. Compared with the Saiyan Broly, I'm afraid the two purebred Saiyans Vegeta and Kakarot are fake, right? Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 239. Many strong men from various dimensions couldn't help but feel very familiar with the green flames that exploded around Broly. Kindness. By the way, have you discovered it? The aura that Broly bursts out is green, similar to the female Saiyan named Kel in the previous tournament of power. Yes, I also discovered it. Could it be that Broly and the female Saiyan named Kel are the same type of Saiyan? It does sound quite similar, and the female Saiyan will become crazy and lose control when she transforms. Broly's situation is quite similar to her. Moreover, the 6th universe and the 7th universe are also equivalent to twin brothers. There are some in the 6th universe, and there should be some in the 7th universe, so this Broly should be the Saiyan who can transform into a green-haired Saiyan. Regarding Broly's green aura, many strong men in the world have been talking about it, and they are constantly suspicious of Broly's abnormality. Kyle, that Broly looks a lot like you. Could it be that he is similar to you? In the 6th universe of Dragon Ball world, Caulifla looked at Kyle beside her and couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. In response, Kyle shook his head and said that he didn't know. However, for an existence like Broly, she still felt a little interested. After all, Her Super Saiyan mode is completely different from other Super Saiyans. Although it is much more powerful than the Golden Super Saiyan, it cannot be controlled. Could it be that Broly is a Saiyan like Kyle? If that's the case, it would be very difficult. On the Earth of the 7th universe, the expressions of Krillin and others couldn't help but change. You know, when Kale burst into Green Super Saiyan Mode 04 in the Tournament of Power, he was able to fight Goku's Super Blue form. And this Broly, he can overwhelm the Super Saiyan when he is normal, and he can even overpower the Super Saiyan God when he is in his ape form. If he transforms into a Green Super Saiyan, he may even be able to defeat the Super Saiyan in his Super Blue form. Even the Dark Blue form may not be his opponent. Damn it, how could there be such a Saiyan? This is simply unheard of. This is too perverted. In the spaceship, Vegeta and Broly, who was looking longingly in front of them, felt extremely frightened. Damn it, they have never heard of the existence of such Saiyans. This is really too perverted. Come on. Could it be said that, is the Saiyan a mutated Saiyan? Boom. The scene continued to play. At this moment, Broly became more and more angry. After punching Wukong, Broly turned around and punched Wukong first. Bang bang bang. Seeing this, Wukong quickly blocked Broly's fist with his left hand, and then punched Broly several times in the abdomen with his right fist. However, facing Wukong's fist, Broly did not feel much pain. After easily resisting Wukong's attack, Broly punched Wukong away with a sudden blow. In this regard, the people surrounding them lamented Broly's terrifying combat power, but while Ci-Li and Remo were sighing, they felt in their hearts that the Broly in front of them was not the real Broly. The culprit behind all this is Broly's father Paragus. Boom 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 boom. In the battlefield, Broly kept beating Kakarot, who was in the Super Sailor God state. The aura on his body continued to get stronger as the battle began, getting stronger almost every moment, as if there is no limit, constantly rising. Facing such a terrifying Broly, Wukong could only be beaten passively. He even had his ankle grabbed and kept smashing on the ice. His miserable screams continued to spread throughout the world. It made many strong men feel extremely frightened. Finally, after being beaten up by Broly, Wukong also understood that he could not go into the water any longer. He even had a mental conversation with Piccolo in his heart, saying that if he couldn't beat him, he would teleport and escape to Piccolo. Go there. Ah 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 ah. Along with Wukong's roar that resounded throughout the world, the golden arrogance all over his body suddenly exploded. The aura on his body was constantly expanding, and the violent arrogance continued to dance around the entire area, creating an unparalleled sense of oppression. Continuously sweeping out. Then the aura continued to expand, and the golden aura suddenly transformed into a green aura, then it turned blue bit by bit, and the blue thunder continued to dance around it. After the breath of God climbed to the extreme, boom. At this moment, the strong men from all major dimensions turned their attention to Wukong. Even Broly, who had lost his mind, changed his face at this moment. He looked at the man who kept emitting powerful aura and sky blue flames rising into the sky. Wukong felt extremely frightened in his heart. If this continues, Broly will be killed by me and everything will be over. On the other side, Paragus looked at the increasingly crazier Broly and could not help but hug his head, feeling extremely desperate. What if Broly dies here, he's doomed. Without Broly, he is nothing. Boom. As Wukong transformed into a super blue form and assumed a fighting stance, Broly's footsteps suddenly stepped forward, and his body rushed towards Wukong like a cannonball. The two collided fiercely again. Facing Goku in his super blue form, Broly showed no fear at all. Instead, he fought harder and harder. The battlefield between the two moved from the ice to the sky, and then fell from the sky into the magma zone. Then they fought again. Back on the ice. Buzz. In the void, Broly raised a green energy bomb with both hands that was thousands of meters long and continued to expand. Green light illuminated the entire land, and terrifying energy like a tide continued to flow into it, creating a terrifying force. It can destroy heaven and earth. Boom! Without the slightest hesitation, Broly suddenly bombarded Wukong with energy bombs. The terrifying power continued to wreak havoc on the surrounding area of hundreds of kilometers. At this moment, the whole world seemed to be enveloped in green energy. Countless icebergs continued to explode, and giant pillars of magma continued to break through the ice and rise into the sky. The entire ice continent fell into a purgatory-like scene. Countless volcanoes began to erupt, and terrifying hurricanes continued to sweep out. Could it be that what King Vegeta said is true and that Broly will endanger the universe? To read exciting novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Looking at the purgatory scene caused by Broly, Paragus couldn't help but collapse to the ground, with incomparable fear on his face. I ask again, has he really reached his limit now? Glancing at Paragus, after getting an accurate answer from the other party, Frieza had a strange smile on his face. I see, then let's give him a little stimulation. Recalling the scene of killing Krillin on Namek, a blazing purple light suddenly gathered in Frieza's hand, hitting Paragus hard in his fearful eyes. Ahem! After clearing his throat, Frieza transformed into the Shadow Emperor and shouted urgently to Broly, who was fighting fiercely in the sky. Broly, look! Seeing Broly's gaze, Frieza continued with a horrified look on his face. Your father was brutally killed. In response to this, many strong men in the world couldn't help but widen their eyes and looked at Frieza in the picture with disbelief. Damn! This Frieza! It was obviously you who killed him. You bitch actually falsely accused others. In the world of Dragon Ball, Paragus couldn't help but suddenly changed, looking at the self-directed Frieza in the picture with great anger, and wanted to skin him alive. And when Broly saw such a scene, he instantly went berserk. Fortunately, with the remote control and the shouts of Paragus himself, Broly was stopped from going berserk. Oh, how powerful will this Broly be? It's really exciting. Frieza, who was deep in the universe and was watching the picture, couldn't help but laugh wantonly, feeling extremely happy in his heart. In the screen, after seeing his father's body, Broly finally couldn't help but fell into a state of rage. Unprecedented anger was constantly impacting his brain. At this moment, he only felt that some imprisonment in his body was being lifted, and a steady stream of huge power continued to emerge throughout his body. Buzz! Along with the roar, the green flames around Broly 553 suddenly exploded, and the terrifying aura swept out continuously, and climbed endlessly. At this moment, the whole world was instantly overwhelmed by an unparalleled power. The aura enveloped it, and the entire land seemed to be constantly changing colors, trembling non-stop. Boom! A red light suddenly appeared in Broly's eyes, and the annoying green light was like a protective shield continued to cover the entire surrounding area, and the green aura suddenly rose into the sky, constantly destroying everything around it. Great, the plan worked. Looking at this scene, Frieza's face was full of excitement. Located on the battlefield, in the sky, Broly's aura continuously fired countless energy bombs on his own, and his hair and eyebrows turned golden at this moment. The pupils in the eyes turned blank, and the violent and raging aura swept across the heavens and the world, making countless strong people instantly frightened. How powerful this is! Looking at the berserk Broly in the picture, the powerful men of all dimensions were stunned at this moment. A sense of fear from the depths of their souls continued to sweep through their bodies, and their whole bodies could not help but tremble. Got up! Broly at this moment. Its powerful aura has far surpassed Goku in his Super Blue form. Moreover, it is still rising. This is really terrible. Although I don't know why Broly's hair is not green but blonde. However, compared to Broly's Super Saiyan form, Kakarot's Super Saiyan form is simply weak. Only the green rampaging Super Ezekiel from Universe 6 can compare with it, and it may even be inferior to Broly. Now it seems that many viewers only think that Goku's Super Saiyan form is a pirated version, Broly and Kyle's Super Saiyan form. He is a genuine legendary warrior. There is only one super soldier in 1,000 years. A true Super Saiyan. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 240. Looking at this scene, the warriors in the Dragon Ball world couldn't help but feel their scalps numb, and an unprecedented palpitation surged into their hearts. This is too strong. Is it possible that this is the real Super Saiyan? On Earth, Klin and others couldn't help but feel a little frightened, and a sense of fear emerged in their hearts. Isn't this Saiyan too abnormal? What's going on? This huge aura is really changing. Can you hold the power when you become a Super Saiyan? Such a powerful guy. If this Saiyan named Broly is added to the tournament of power in the future, our chances of winning will be very slim. At this moment, the 7 space warriors who would need to participate in the tournament of power in the future couldn't help but look solemn and felt a lot of pressure. At this moment, even Jiren couldn't help but stare at Broly on the screen, and there was a surge in his heart. Strong fighting spirit. It has to be said that Broly at this moment is enough to make him feel extremely cautious. This power is too strong. Even Sun Wukong under the Super Blue 20 times Kaio Fist is far from his opponent. Even he may have to use all his strength to defeat this Broly. Ha ha ha, great, I didn't expect there to be such a powerful Saiyan in our universe. It seems that our chances of winning will be even higher when we participate in the tournament of power organized by Mr. Quan Wang in the future. In the God of Destruction, Beerus couldn't help but smile excitedly. With Broly, and Goku, Vegeta and the others, they will definitely be able to win in the future. Lord Beerus, you seem to be too happy. This Broly is just like the female Saiyan named Kel, unable to control her own power. Beside, Whis spoke calmly. The words were not finished, but everyone knew it well. A warrior who cannot control his consciousness will definitely do more harm than good. Future me, will it become that powerful? Contrary to what everyone thought, Broly's face was full of shock when he watched the picture, and he felt an unprecedented throbbing in his heart. In the picture, his figure seemed to be victorious, it was so powerful. That kind of gesture, that kind of power, that kind of aura that looks down upon all things, was simply beyond his imagination. What are you dawdling over there, idiot? In the picture, Vegeta's face was filled with anger, and then his body turned into a stream of light and flew towards Goku's direction. Arriving next to Goku, Vegeta looked at Broly's figure and said, "It's already come to this moment, why are you still fighting alone?" "Probably because I am unwilling to do so." As Goku's somewhat tired voice fell, sky blue flames suddenly exploded around Vegeta, and the powerful aura of God suddenly increased to the extreme. Whoops! The two bodies shattered the atmosphere, and at the same time they moved towards Bu. Raleigh rushed over and started fighting with Broly, who had lost his mind. However, even when faced with the combined forces of Goku and Vegeta in their super blue forms, Broly, who was in a berserk state, still had the upper hand. "Come on, Vegeta!" Afterburner. Turtle-style Kigong wave. As the two people's voices fell, azure light waves and golden shock waves continued to condense in their palms. The aura of God on their bodies continued to pour into them like a tide, and the terrifying power continued to overwhelm the entire area. In the sky, an unparalleled sense of oppression instantly swept across the world. Boom! Instantly, two shock waves, one yellow and one blue, merged together and rushed towards Broly's direction with unparalleled power. Yaha! Two green energy bombs packed with terrifying power suddenly condensed in his hand. Broly, who was in a rampage state, pushed the energy bombs in his hand into the terrifying shockwave without fear. Boom! In an instant, 2 light waves were instantly dispersed by Broly. The huge waves of lava covered most of the area. 2 blue and 1 green streams of light continued to streak rapidly across the entire magma area. Wukong and others intentionally or unintentionally spread the cloth. Raleigh led to Frisia's location. Calm down first, I'm Frisia. Looking at Broly, who suddenly appeared in front of him, lost his mind and rushed towards him. Frisia's face was extremely panicked, and he was trying to wake up Broly. However, Frisia's face was extremely panicked. Broly, who was in a state of rage, would not show any mercy. A green energy bomb suddenly hit Frisia's chest, sending him flying hard, and then moved his target to Frisia. Bang 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 bang. Without any hesitation, Broly kept beating Frisia, and the terrifying power poured down continuously without any reservation. Thousands of blows were struck every moment, and the entire area was instantly destroyed. Blowed into a vacuum. Facing Broly, who became extremely powerful and went berserk, Frisia in his final form had no power to fight back and could only continue to be beaten passively and scream in agony. Ha 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 ha, Frisia, you deserve it? In response to this, most of the audience in the world couldn't help laughing. The expressions on their faces were extremely happy, and they just felt extremely happy in their hearts. This Frisia. He knows how to cause trouble, is it okay now? This is called reaping the consequences. Let this Broly give you a good beating and see if you dare to cause trouble to Goku and the others again. Well done, Broly, kill Frisia to avenge me. Looking at Broly, who kept beating Frisia, Paragus felt extremely happy watching the scene. Damn Frisia, he actually killed me in the future. Go to hell, let me you see the true power of Saiyans. Hateful. Why is that Saiyan monkey aiming at my future me? Deep in the universe, Frisia's face was extremely angry. He wanted to kill this Broly. Grandma Lise, my majestic King Frisia of the universe. In front of so many people from all over the world. A strong man's face is constantly being beaten up. I can't stand it, I can't stand it, I can't stand it, Frisia can't stand it. But, while the audiences from all major dimensions were gloating over the misfortune, they couldn't help but feel very troubled. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Now Broly cannot be defeated even by Goku and Vegeta working together. What should we do next? Unless Wukong once again enters the state of reaching the peak of freedom and ultimate willpower. Otherwise, it seems that the only way is to merge. Could it be that the man with the invincible look on his face is going to appear again? Vegeto. At this moment, many people's eyes couldn't help but light up. They didn't see Vegeto appear in the Tournament of Power, maybe they can see him this time. Vegeta, come here now. In the picture, holding Vegeta's arm, while Broly's attention was attracted by Frisia, Goku quickly took Vegeta and teleported away on the ice continent. Phew. The next moment, the two of them appeared where Piccolo was, and then they returned to normal and fell heavily to the ground. Hello, in the end what happened? Looking at the two people who suddenly appeared, Piccolo couldn't help but asked in confusion. It's an emergency, I'll tell you later. Looking at Piccolo, Wukong continued, Pico, do you have any fairy beans on you? No. After receiving Piccolo's answer, Goku thought for a moment and then said to Vegeta, Vegeta, have you ever heard of fusion? Fusion technique. In response, Vegeta raised his eyebrows and then said, I seem to have heard Trunks talk about this kind of spell. Wait a minute. Isn't that an awkward dance fusion? At Vegeta's hesitation, the audience in the world couldn't help but their eyes lit up. This time, he didn't want to use earrings to fuse, but to use fusion technique. Doesn't that mean a new fusion warrior is about to appear? I don't know what this new super soldier is called. Isn't he handsome? However, some people think that Vegeta would not agree to the fusion. After all, that posture is too shameful. Sure enough, as everyone expected, Vegeta in the picture couldn't help but exclaimed, "Isn't that just that stupid combination move?" Well, let's use wrong, combined skills. While saying this, Wukong started to move. "Stop joking, I won't merge with you, it's absolutely impossible," Vegeta naturally rejected this. "The fusion will only last for 30 minutes. Haven't you used broken Terra earrings to fuse it before? But now there are no earrings, and if they don't fit well, there's no way I can win against that guy. Even if we have to unite now, then, so, do you want me to make such a stupid move?" As he spoke, Vegeta danced and danced. "If you don't do this, you won't be able to win, and if this continues, the Earth may, well, be destroyed." "Humph, that can only be blamed on the bad fate of the Earth. Does it matter if your favorite Bulma dies?" Hearing this, Vegeta's face couldn't help but blush, and his psychological defense was instantly broken. "Don't say such shameless words." "Well, just this once, hurry up and teach me how to do it." So, under the guidance of Piccolo, the two began to practice fusion. "Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the majestic Xian prince to compromise like this." Looking at this scene, most of the audience in the world couldn't help laughing, and their whole bodies were shaking with laughter. However, there were also many women who envied Bulma and were filled with emotions in their hearts. You know, once a man has money and power, there will be many women. But Vegeta, the arrogant Xian prince, is obviously different. Even though his strength keeps getting stronger, he still loves him deeply. Boomer. This relationship is so enviable. Of course, some people will say that Bulma is the richest man on earth and so on. However, Vegeta, the majestic Xian prince who can defeat the god of destruction, would care about that little money. Hateful. In the future, I will actually be willing to do those things for a woman from Earth, and I will even look like that. In the world of Dragon Ball, Vegeta's face darkened, he clenched his fists and said angrily. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country." Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 241. As the protagonist of the incident, Bulma lowered his head shyly, his face extremely red. That handsome Xian Prince Vegeta. Actually, he actually showed that look. Really? It was right for me to choose Vegeta in the future. Ha ha ha, that boy Vegeta actually showed that shy expression. I must laugh at him the next time I see him. In the God of Destruction, Beerus couldn't help laughing. Indeed, Vegeta can actually look like this. Xians are so interesting. Besides, Whis couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a bright smile. In response to this, the warriors from all the Dragon Ball universes and even the God of Destruction angels couldn't help but have weird expressions on their faces. Even Jiren couldn't help being stunned. For a moment speechless. Unexpected, that proud Xian prince actually has such a cute side. In the picture, the camera also came to where Broly was, and Frieza was still being beaten continuously by Broly, foaming at the mouth as if he didn't want money. Ah 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 ah. With an angry roar, golden flames suddenly exploded around Frieza. The extremely powerful aura continued to spurt out, and golden light continued to appear all over his body. Even Broly, who was in a berserk state, was affected by this terrifying aura. Zhen flew out. Golden Frieza appears. "You are so bold, you actually dare to attack me." Clenching his fists, Golden Frieza slowly opened his eyes, turned his gaze to Broly and said, "Then let me show you the power of my Golden Frieza." As Frieza's voice fell, he stepped suddenly and fought with the rampaging Broly again. The battle between the two was extremely fierce. It's just that 417, at first, Golden Frieza was able to fight back, but as time passed, in the face of Broly's terrifying strength, even Golden Frieza could only passively take a beating. Ha ha ha, Frieza really deserves it. In response to this, the audience in all major dimensions couldn't help laughing, and then they also sighed with emotion about Broly's terrifying strength. It's so scary, that Golden Frieza was actually beaten constantly. However, let me tell you, this Golden Frieza is indeed very resistant to beatings. He actually took so many punches without much damage. We would like to call you the strongest golden punching bag in the Dragon Ball world. Melt, combine. The camera turned again, and Goku and Piccolo were showing Vegeta the fusion moves. Looking at the two people's movements, Vegeta's face turned red, his eyelids kept beating wildly, and his whole body couldn't help but tremble. Standing up, a feeling of extreme shame welled up in my heart. This posture is too shameful. Nima, do you really want to do this pose? Really? Just die. Hateful, I will risk my life for my beloved Bulma. This is the fusion technique. We don't have enough time, so hurry up and practice it. What's wrong, Vegeta? Under Goku's urging, Vegeta could only accept his fate and started a dance fusion with Goku. No, please don't. Looking at himself in the picture, Vegeta couldn't help but roar. An unprecedented sense of shame constantly hit his brain, which almost made him angry and turned into a Super Saiyan on the spot. However, no matter how much Vegeta roared, it couldn't be conveyed in the picture. However, for Vegeta's decision, not many viewers from all over the world laughed at it anymore. Instead, they watched the scene intently, looking forward to the emergence of new fusion warriors. Melt, combine. In the picture, as Goku and Vegeta finished their voices and movements, their fingertips touched together, but Vegeta's index finger was obviously a little crooked. Buzz. With a golden, the arrogance suddenly wrapped the two people together, and the two beams of red and blue were constantly entangled together, and the dazzling golden light illuminated the entire world. Boom. As the light dissipated, a fat man wearing a small vest appeared in front of everyone. No doubt, the fusion of the two failed. Therefore, the two could only wait for half an hour before merging again. And within these 30 minutes, Golden Frieza, who was originally a continent of ice and now turned into a continent of lava, was still constantly being hit by Broly's fists, and his miserable screams made the audience feel sad. Trembling. Melt, combine. On the other side, after 30 minutes passed, the two performed the awkward dance fusion again. But this time, they still failed and became a skinny man. So, they waited for another half an hour, and this half 4 hours, Frieza continued to be beaten, and his whole body was extremely miserable. In response, most of the audience in the world could only mourn in silence, feeling some sympathy in their hearts. Frieza is so miserable. He actually had to be beaten by Broly for over an hour. Ha 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 ha. Melt, combine. On the other side, Goku and Vegeta also started their awkward dance fusion again. Finally. This time it worked. To read exciting novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Boom. As the majestic music sounded, two beams of light, one red and one blue, continued to surround each other. The dazzling golden light instantly rose into the sky. A terrifying hurricane swept out instantly, and an unparalleled powerful aura instantly appeared. It spread throughout the world, shocking countless powerful people. Buzz. As the golden light receded, what caught the eyes of everyone in the world was a figure wearing a black and yellow vest and white martial arts pants with a well-balanced and powerful figure. Yossi, go and defeat that guy. Feeling the powerful aura from the man in front of him, Piccolo couldn't help but feel confident, and then continued, well, what should I call you? Kindness, the time I used the earring, I called it Vegeta. What will it be called this time? Hearing this, the man with golden light couldn't help but think about it. After a moment, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. In that case, let's call it this time Gajata. As the voice fell, Gajata's face, which was slightly more handsome than Vegeto, also appeared in everyone's eyes, and then he used teleportation and disappeared from the place. So handsome, and so strong. Looking at the handsome face that suddenly appeared in front of them, most of the viewers in the world couldn't help but widen their eyes, and felt extremely excited on their faces. Among them, some female viewers even called their husbands directly. Tianwanja was also completely boiling at this moment. At this moment, no one will doubt whether Gajata can defeat Broly. This powerful aura is no less than that of Vegeto, who was fused with earrings before. It is a powerful aura that is superior to the god of destruction and can rival angels. If Vegeto is an invincible warrior, then Gajata in front of him is the strongest warrior in the dimension. As soon as the camera turned, Broly's body once again spread a powerful green aura. The terrifying aura was still rising, and it was several times more powerful than an hour ago. On the other side, Frieza was embedded in the rock wall at this moment, looking extremely embarrassed, with an extremely angry expression on his face. He wanted to kill Broly in front of him on the spot. Then, as if he remembered something, Frieza couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly. It's so wonderful, what a perfect fighting power he has. Next second. Call out. A figure appeared in his eyes, causing Frieza to raise his eyebrows. Who are you? My name is Gajata. Goku and Vegeta merged and became me. With a faint smile, Gajata turned his gaze to the confused Frieza, and then continued, you have been dead for too long, so you don't know this kind of magic. This is not a simple sum of the powers of two people, but the ability to generate stronger combat effectiveness. Without too many words, Gajata teleported again and disappeared. On the other side, Whis was constantly teasing Broly at this moment. No matter how much Broly's strength and speed increased, he was still unable to touch him. When it comes to Whis' clothes, it's like an adult playing with a child. At the same time, Gajata's figure appeared in front of Whis. Wes, just leave the rest to me. Bring it on. As Gajata's voice fell, the white flames around him suddenly exploded, and his body instantly rose into the sky, and Broly's body suddenly exploded with green flames, following Gajata. Boom 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 boom. Gajata is constantly chasing, and Broly, who is in a berserk state, continues to blast out green energy lights, but none of them could hit Gajata. Because, his speed is really too fast. Get ready to attack. After leading Broly away, Gajata's figure paused in the air, golden light slowly emerged around him, and Broly's body continued to rush towards his direction. Ah! Ah! As Gajata roared, golden light emerged unreservedly, and the extremely powerful aura continued to rise. His hair and eyebrows instantly turned golden, and he transformed became a Super Saiyan. Bang 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 bang. With a loud roar, Gajata and Broly suddenly collided fiercely in mid-air, one punch and one kick. However, facing the extremely powerful Gajata, Broly instantly fell into a disadvantage and was suddenly kicked out. Then he directly withstood the siege of countless Blue-Kigong waves from Gajata. Boom 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 boom. Countless Blue-Kigong waves burst out from Gajata's hands as if they were free, and landed on Broly's body. Along with the terrifying explosions, Broly screamed miserably. The sound also kept coming. Ah 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 ah. With a roar, the green barrier around Broly suddenly opened, easily resisting Gajata's energy attack, and then he stepped forward and rushed towards Gajata in the sky again. Whoosh! The figures of the two people continued to flash in the air, the overwhelming figures and fist shadows continued to be reflected in the void, and the sound of fierce collisions continued to resound through the sky. Hiss! Seeing such an astonishing scene, countless spectators in the world could not help but widen their eyes and open their mouths so wide that they could almost eat a pig in 3 bites. It's too strong. What kind of battle is this? Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 242. It's too strong. The battle scene between these two people is almost comparable to Kakarot's battle against Jiren in the state of ultimate willpower. Just talk about it upstairs. Gogeta can definitely compare to those two people, but forget it about Broly. Although he is very powerful, he is far behind compared to Jiren. Gogeta is so powerful, he is not inferior to Vegeto, and he seems to be a little more handsome. Is it because of his hairstyle? Are you farting upstairs? Vegeto is also super handsome, okay. Gogeta is as handsome as Vegeto. Broly is also great. From being suppressed by Super Saiyan at the beginning, in just over an hour, he has actually reached a level where he can defeat or even Golden Frieza. Indeed, this Broly's talent is really terrifying. He actually reached such a terrifying state in such a short period of time, much more powerful than that Cal. It's unbelievable. The Saiyan race is too perverted, isn't it? These guys who appear one after another are actually so strong. But, when I think about Golden Frieza being beaten up by Broly for more than an hour, I really can't help it, ha ha ha. +1 +1, Frieza is really pitiful. The overlord of the universe is so angry. In the screen, countless barrages continued to pass by. Most people were lamenting Gogeta's powerful strength and handsome appearance, while some people were also lamenting Broly's power, and some people were even more surprised. Mocking Frieza. 2. It's so amazing, this Broly was able to fight back against Gogeta in Super Saiyan form. On the Dragon Ball world Earth, Piccolo and others couldn't help but exclaimed. Logically speaking, Gogeta should be able to easily defeat Broly, but now he seems to be evenly matched with Broly. Could it be that this guy is letting go? Already? Hateful, how could such a Saiyan exist? This is too terrifying. Located in the depths of the universe, Frieza could not help but grit his teeth and look at Broly in the screen, feeling extremely frightened in his heart. Even the words mocking him on the barrage were ignored by him. He in the future, the one in Golden Frieza form. How is this possible to be ravaged by a Saiyan monkey one-sidedly? Boom. In the picture, as the blue light wave in Gogeta's palm and the green light wave in Broly's hand suddenly collided together, the entire extra-dimensional space was shattered at this moment, like a black lens falling, making the world the strong men in all realms were extremely frightened. Located in the beautiful extra-dimensional space, Gogeta, Broly, and even the countless spectators in the world have no intention of watching the scene. They only have this battle in their eyes at the moment. Bang 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 bang. In the extra-dimensional space, the bodies of Gogeta and Broly suddenly collided together again. The overwhelming fist shadows continued to bombard each other. The terrifying aftermath continued to sweep across the entire space, and endless amounts of energy were swung out. Boom. With a roar, the green aura around Broly suddenly exploded. At this moment, the aura suddenly expanded again as if it had broken through the limit. The color of his hair suddenly turned green, and the aura on his body kept rising, as if there was no limit. Bang 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 bang. After transforming into the green-haired form, Broly's strength and speed were greatly improved. The fist in his hand fell on Gogeta without any reservation. The terrifying power made Gogeta instantly speak out. Foam, the body flew out. And Broly's body followed closely behind, constantly throwing out fists with unparalleled power, and even shattered the space in the different dimensions again. Along with Gogeta's roar, the sky blue flames all over his body suddenly exploded, and the aura on his body was instantly transformed into the aura of God. The unparalleled terrifying power instantly overwhelmed Broly, reaching an unprecedented level of terror. Boom. Without any hesitation, Gogeta's body turned into a stream of light, and his right fist with huge force suddenly landed on Broly's face, and then continued to pursue Broly, punching, kicking, elbowing and other attacks. It kept falling on him. Ah 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 ah. As the two roared again, their fists suddenly collided together, and the unparalleled power and terrifying aura instantly shattered the entire extra-dimensional space. The two returned to the original planet again, but the location was no longer the original location, but a desolate area with only endless mountains and rocks. Hey hey! Looking at the frantic Broly, Gogeta couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly and assumed a fighting posture again. Ah 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 ah! With a roar, Broly suddenly kicked towards Gogeta. After being dodged by him, a green light wave in his hand instantly condensed and blasted towards Gogeta. Boom! With a slight wave, Gogeta knocked away the light wave in Broly's hand, then rotated his body 360 degrees in mid-air and suddenly kicked Broly in the face, with a terrifying moment of tremendous force, making him spit out a mouthful of saliva. Buzz! After landing, Gogeta's hands condensed two blue energy light balls and rushed towards Broly's direction again. Facing Broly's crazy green cannon, Gogeta lightly jumped to his back. The energy bomb in his hand instantly landed behind Broly's body, triggering a terrifying explosion and a violent thick fog. It rose suddenly. Boom 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 boom. As countless azure energy bombs continued to blast out from Gogeta's hands and landed on Broly's body, a colorful energy light ball suddenly condensed out of his hand, and then headed towards Broly again. Broly's direction was smashed. Boom! In an instant, Broly's pitiful screams resounded throughout the world, and dazzling colorful light suddenly shone out. The monstrous fire instantly filled the entire area tens of thousands of meters in radius, and the huge crater was reflected in everyone's eyes. Call! And just when Gogeta breathed a sigh of relief, the entire sky dimmed at this moment, and the divine dragon emitting golden light suddenly appeared in everyone's eyes. Ci-Li and Limo are holding Kakano hostage and making a wish to the dragon, at the same time. The screen returned to the battlefield. Broly, who was hit by Gogeta's terrifying attack, burst out with dazzling green light again. The powerful aura suddenly expanded again, and the earth-shattering roar spread throughout all dimensions. The unparalleled power made countless strong men are afraid of it. To read cool novels, go to Fila Novel Network. Ah! Along with Broly's roar, his body rushed towards Gogeta again, and the two collided fiercely again. A dazzling green light wave suddenly blasted out from Broly's hand, and the blazing light instantly penetrated the entire void. Boom! After escaping Broly's shock wave, Gogeta's blue energy exploded again, and his body turned into a dark blue stream of light and continued to fly towards Broly, at a terrifying speed that far exceeded the speed of light. Boom! Without the slightest hesitation, several Gogetas accelerating in the void instantly appeared in front of Broly's eyes, carrying extremely powerful fists and suddenly blasted Broly away, and then continued chasing Broly. Blue aura enveloped his fists, and blue thunder continued to blast out. Boom! As Gogeta's dark blue flame suddenly exploded, his aura increased to the extreme at this moment. The two fists suddenly collided together. The terrifying power instantly caused the earth to collapse, and Broly's body was even more, it flew out like a shooting star. Bang 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 bang. Without the slightest hesitation, Gogeta's fists wrapped in blue aura landed continuously on Broly's body. Each blow caused him to let out a miserable scream, and layers of invisible fluctuations continued to spread. Then, the surrounding space became violently distorted. Ha! With Gogeta's roar, dark blue energy instantly enveloped Broly. The terrifying energy exploded violently in the next moment. From a distance, it looked like a nuclear bomb exploded. The blazing fire illuminated the entire planet, which was astonishing. Hurricanes larger than Category 20 storms swept across the world. Marvelous, the next move should be able to determine the winner. Looking at Gogeta's movements, Whis couldn't help but reveal a meaningful smile on his face. Buzz! Back on the battlefield, Gogeta's palms suddenly came together, and unprecedented dark blue Kagong waves continued to flow. The palms of his hands are condensed, the energy in it is constantly pouring into it like a tide, waves of blue fluctuations are constantly spreading, and the terrifying power that is enough to destroy everything sweeps across the heavens and the world. Looking at Gogeta's movements, fear appeared on Broly's face for the first time. At this moment, his sanity returned. A sense of crisis that he had never felt before kept emerging in his heart. His whole body was trembling at this moment. The whole body seemed to be frozen, unable to move. Turtle. Group. Guess. Achievement. Wave. Boom. As Gogeta's voice fell, the dark blue Kigong wave was wrapped with unparalleled power and instantly penetrated the entire area at a speed exceeding the speed of light, blasting towards the direction of Broly. In Broly's roar of fear, Sci-fi finally made a promise at this moment to let Broly return to the planet where he originally lived. Boom. As the Kigong wave penetrated Broly in the last 1/10 second of Lee's body, his figure suddenly disappeared under the power of the dragon, and the dark blue Kigong wave cut through the sky, penetrated the entire sky, and disappeared into the end of the universe. Looking at the teleported person Broly, Gogeta raised his eyebrows with some surprise on his face. After noticing something, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a smile. At the same time, Broly, who had regained his consciousness, returned to his original state. Behind the planet, a spaceship carrying Zirei and Remo also rose into the sky and flew towards the universe. Seeing this, a purple light suddenly condensed in Frieza's hand, but it was blocked by Satori, who appeared the next second. Vegeta grabbed the arm. In desperation, Frieza could only snort, and release the golden Frieza form. After leaving a harsh word, Frieza's army quickly left the earth. Looking at the scene in front of them, the world fell into deathly silence at this moment. The faces of countless spectators were filled with sluggishness, and an unprecedented shock surged into their hearts, straight into the depths of their souls. Marvelous! It's really great! This battle is so awesome, so intense. What an existence this is, and what great power it possesses.